Hi guys, welcome back to Mindset Mondays. I'm super excited that you are here with me yet again to continue the meaningful conversations that the Mindset cards or deck of cards have to offer. So we have done 3 already this past 3 weeks, and now we'll just review that a little bit. Where have you found peace was the first that we went over. What do you want to let go of, and what do you spend too much time doing? Those were the 3 that we covered these past 3 weeks. Today, we are going to talk about what would you do if you were not afraid. So, if you are not afraid and fear never actually existed and that wasn't a thing, do you think you would be living a different life? Do you think you'd be pursuing opportunities that you didn't think that you would have if fear never existed? I can personally tell you that fear has contributed to a lot of me saying no, contributed to me missing out on opportunities because I was just scared. I feared more than I wanted to live life, which sounds crazy, but there are people out there who, and really a lot of us, who do have fear within us because of judgment, where we fear failure, we fear, there's a list of things that we fear no matter, whatever the situation is. Now that we think about that, if we were to take that fear out of us, what would you actually do? And if you were just fearless, have you always been one to skydive, but you were just scared? Did you always want to travel to, a different place, whether it's state or country, but we're just too scared? Did you always want to be that person, just go to a movie theater, enjoy it by yourself, but you were scared of the judgment? Do you have a passion that lights you up within you, but you're too scared to pursue it because you're scared of the judgment from your friends and family? That fear should not hold us back. That fear is something that I think a lot of people see negatively. And to be honest, it's an opportunity for us to prove to ourselves that what we want to do, usually is something that we're curious, like, oh, I want to try that. I want to help out this charity, but I'm scared to what other people are going to think about me. I want to travel abroad. I want to start my own business, but I'm too scared. Those are opportunities to prove to ourselves, to prove to the people within us that we can do it. We have to let go of that fear, because if we hold on to that, it will really hold us back as a human, as a person, from the life that we want to live. Fear is an opportunity for us to prove how strong we are as a person. Fear is an opportunity for us to prove to others that we are fearless, we are brave, that we can do it. If you think about it, when you look at little kids and they just go and play, you see them roaming the house, they're completely fearless. We were there at some point in our lives where we just didn't care. We didn't care for the judgment. We didn't care. We just did it. We just went up and we just went out and did it, right? So where did that all go? Is it a lot of insecurities? It's the judgment. It's fear of failure. Those are 2 things I feel like are contributing factors. It's either judgment or failure. Those are things that we have to learn and practice, that we are worth it. We are worth to be fearless. We are brave. And those are where we write our intentions of, whether it's on a post-it note or have it on a bracelet. Have that word fearless. Have the word brave. That will help you as a reminder that that's who we are as a person. We are. We were that as a child. We have to dig deep into that person or into that inner child, right? If we constantly live life in fear, we will most likely not live a life that we're happy in. And another thing I want to point out is maybe when we do try things that would scare us and maybe it doesn't work out the first time, that is okay. That is a learning opportunity for us to try it again. Try it again. Never be discouraged. Keep going. These are like phrases that I tell myself because there are times that I get scared. There are times I do fear judgment. There are times I do fear that I will fail. And at times I don't succeed to what I thought I wanted to, but instead of beating myself down, I figure out, okay, this didn't work out. What can I do next time? And what did I learn now so that I don't make that mistake again? There are two types of people, I believe. You see the glass half full, you see the glass half empty. To allow yourself to overcome the fear within you to do things that you want to do, you have to start seeing the glass half full, right? The opportunity. Be positive. Fear, it's something that kind of gets our heart racing. It's something that gets us sweating. It's like, oh, like, I don't think I can do it. Then you start to get nervous. Then just anxiety starts to come through. And really, then you decide, just as about to step out the door and make that decision to do what you fear the most, you retract, go back inside and say, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. How often are you telling yourself, I'll get to that? But it's easier to make an excuse for it because it scares us that much. Anything that scares us that much should push you and get you pumped up and excited. Like, you know what? I am not going to let myself be shut down on fear. I can do this. Fear, you do not exist. I can do this. You have to tell yourself that. It sounds silly, and you don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to say it out loud. You can have a bracelet that says, I can do this. You can have it as a wallpaper, as a note when you wake up in the morning, but you can do this, right? What would you do if you were not afraid? The challenge that I have for you today is to think about what you would do. And if you have done things already, that's great. How can we get to that next level then, right? We are individuals that are constantly growing. Doesn't matter how old we are, we learn from both our elders and those younger than us, right? So doesn't matter how old we are, we're constantly growing. We're constantly being curious of things. And we're now living in this brand new world of where just things are just different. I know we're scared. We're scared like, oh man, this pandemic is crazy. Like, how are things going to be when we move forward? How is it going to be when we travel? Don't let fear overtake you. Fear will prevent you from really living that life that you want. So again, I challenge you, write down those things right now. That what would you do if fear didn't exist, or if you were not afraid? That was the question. What would you do if you were not afraid? I challenge you, make a list. You might surprise yourself. It might be one item. It might be 10, 20, a list of that just keeps going. But no, that list will always grow. You'll always add on to that list because we learn new things as we live our life. Whether it's at work, whether it's with friends, whether it's with family, we're always learning. Even when we're driving on the road, we're seeing things and we're learning. We're seeing new advertisements, new brands. Are you curious about it? Are you curious of things to try out? Because there's a lot. So don't let fear be the reason why you aren't doing things that you are curious of. Because if it's going to help you, there's this thing within that you're like, okay, if I do this, I know I just will be a better person. I just know I just will feel so great. I will just be so pumped. I can check that off my bucket list. Ultimately, what that is, I guess if you think about it, what's your bucket list? What would you do if you were not afraid? There's one life that we have to live. Live it to the fullest. Don't let fear take over. You deserve to live the life. To be a brave person. Live fearless. So, thank you, everybody, for joining me again for My Intent Monday. This is the 4th week. What would you do if you were not afraid? I challenge you this week to make a list of that. List of those things that you haven't done because it just scared you. And I challenge you to try and make that as a goal to accomplish at least one of them this year. Because I understand how fear can cause us to postpone things. So start off baby steps. One thing you really want to try, but you've always been too scared, try to make that your goal this year for 2021. You will be surprised that you'll be able to do it. And if you feel like you can't do it yourself, remember, our friends and family are there with us, and they will hold our hand, stand by our side to either encourage us or do what we fear most with us. You don't always have to do things by yourself. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining for My Intent Mondays. I will see you next week. Good night, everyone.